Hi, welcome to Garden Cafe. I'm Maureen, and this is my Texas Zone 8B 9A garden. Time for the August garden tour. By the way, I'm holding this microphone because I'm not sure what's going on, but unless it's close to my mouth, you really can't hear my voice. Um, August, Central Texas. At this point, it's sort of hunkered down and try to survive through the last little bit of the worst of the heat. Hopefully, I mean, it's not always in Central Texas. We could go into November with this high heat, but for the most part in September, we start coming down a little bit more. I'm going to take you around to see different areas. I'm going to do the front of the house and over on the right for the first part. I'll do the back of the house and over on the left for the second part. So let's start over here around the corner in the front. My passion vine, it's so sad. I'll bring you in closer. It, every leaf is just chewed up and gone except for this ugly um, bush that we've been doing our best to get rid of. The creatures have moved in, all the caterpillars. The only benefit is we have tons of butterflies right now, which are so nice. As far as beautiful butterflies. I mean, they're so gorgeous. I absolutely love them. So, you know what? Okay, this year I just got to it too late. I did see a few of the critters. I tried to treat. It didn't make any difference. There are just too many of these guys up here. And I'm going to put a picture up here of the four I'm looking at just within a few inches. Um, it'll come back next year. In the winter, we'll cut that back. It'll regrow and hopefully I can treat it so that it doesn't become food for the butterflies next year. My newest no-till garden, um, some doing well, some isn't. The Vitex, I think I'm going to stake this little guy up. I want him to be a tree more than I want him to be a bush, but he is growing gorgeous. The whirling butterfly, they're starting to come up with new blooms. So I'm thrilled with that. Lucifer crocosmia, man, I don't know. Maybe it will grow. Those were bulbs I dug up out of my sister's garden. And the red yucca still looks like a couple of blades of grass, but it's growing and it's alive. Very impressive in here. But, hey, it is August. We're going to see what happens. My Rose of Sharon's are still growing gorgeous flowers. But because of the stress, it's really most of it is setting the seeds. And these are like acorns. I mean, they are so heavy, and all of the branches end up getting pulled down. Now, what I do probably in another month or so is I'll cut these off so that the branches are not dragged down so much. And obviously, I don't want any more Rose of Sharon's in this area. There's enough here to grow a forest of them. I actually may offer some of the seeds to the neighbors. Anyway, this, yeah, still pretty, but you can see it is suffering in the summer heat. My Mystic Spires Blue Salvia, and I do need to deadhead, but my Mystic Spires Blue Salvia, I love it. It's growing. I expect this to be huge, and I'm kind of fine with it being in front of the Rose of Sharon taking up this corner in future years. So I love it. It's great. Wow, lots of bees around here. The red scarlet sage, I think is what this is. Crazy, went absolutely loony. My daughter bought me a very small scarlet sage plant last year that I had planted on the upper level, obviously dropped seeds on the lower level. I actually liked it all spring and summer. It just added red, the color red, between the purple and the white of the Rose of Sharon and the Vinca and, well, these very suffering now white dahlias, which I'm going to cut these guys back, do a really good cut. But next year, I really want to give the Mystic Spires this entire section. I really do. And I think I'm going to cut back all of the other stuff to just give it a little bit more room in the spring. Back here, the Fire and Ice Rose. This was the bare root rose I planted in the spring, and they are absolutely gorgeous. But with the heat the way it is, they don't look as happy. The leaves are red, are yellowing. The flowers are much smaller and not as, I don't know, striking. I'm going to fertilize that in another month. I don't want to fertilize much right now of anything because the last thing I want is new growth to come up and get fried by the sun. Back there, I still, folks, don't know if anyone knows what kind of rose that is up there. I call it my Costco rose because that's where we bought it. I love it. It is so beautiful and it grows the most gorgeous roses, and the smell. It has the sweetest, most gorgeous smell. That one doing great, really is. I have kept that pruned back anytime, that group of roses grow. I have pruned it back, and that seems to be key for making this continually bloom. Tried that with the fire and ice roses with, again, not a whole lot of luck. So this area again looks very stressed, but I still like the color, the purple, the white, the red, the roses. I really do. I like it. I'm happy with it, but I can kind of see the picture of what I'm going to do next year. Mystic Spires. I want these rose bushes. I am going to stake these up, this fire and ice one up a little bit more. I just want this area to be a little bit more of a tight. It'll be the lower flowers to these higher flowers to the massive Rose of Sharon. That's sort of the look I want on this section going forward. Over here, I put in profusion zinnias, which have lost their minds. And frankly, I can lose their minds every year. This is just so much color and so much beauty. Problem is, they sort of split. They grew up, were absolutely gorgeous, and then the weight just folded back. So I have this empty spot in here. Now I can go through and prune these back. Really don't want to because this area, for some reason, nothing has been growing here in this area other than weeds. Nothing that I put back here has been growing, which has been very disappointing. Anything I plant seems to die. I have a feeling, and I'm going to run the sprinklers, but I think the sprinkler for this front swoop, the lower level, is somewhere in this area under the profusion zinnias, and I think that's stopping the water from going to this section. Now back here, I did plant angelonium, and it does look healthy, and it has a few flowers. I just planted that a few weeks ago. That usually gives me lots of colors. So I am hoping. Underneath the profusion zinnias are these absolutely stunning, I'll bring you in closer here, these incredibly beautiful colors. Now, right now you can't see much, but the verbena, it's this dark purple with the white center, but problem is the profusion zinnias sort of suffocated it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few cuttings, follow this back, get a few cuttings of it, and see if I can start them up because I'd like more of that. As you can see, I have verbenas everywhere. Back here are my geraniums. So pretty, and I'll give you a view from the other side. I do need to get in there and deadhead. The pink and white verbena that was just so gorgeous until a few weeks ago. I think the heat just got to be too much. Really is taking a break. And oddly enough, the purple and white, which really did not do well in the spring, is suddenly starting to grow much fuller. Kind of thrilled. Back here is some volunteer vinca. It's fine there. It's okay. And then up here is, I put a tuberous dahlia back there. Definitely needs to be cut back. You can see that there are leaves down here at the base. This is the time of year, and if you'd seen my previous video, I already went around the entire yard and cut all my dahlias back. The heat and the lack of rain, really, just to get nutrients and moisture up to this top part is so difficult for this time of year. And if you cut it back, it'll flush out with new leaves, new flowers for the fall. It's just a little bit easier on the plant, less stress. Back here, you can see are my moss roses. I mean, they are stunning. I'm going to do that every single summer. I think I had petunias here, other plants. I had lots of different plants. But yeah, summer came and they were not happy. So my sister and I put in the moss roses, and clearly, folks, I mean, the moss roses win the day for the color in the worst brutal part of the heat. So that'll be this, you'll see that again next year. This area going into the entrance, of course, Vinca, the huge summer win in Texas. I have several different colors here. The pink and white verbena, these are from cuttings from last fall, and I think I have a video on that. Planted them here, frankly, thought there'd be a little too much sun for them to thrive, but they are totally thriving, and I am absolutely thrilled. The dahlias I cut back, and they're starting to grow pretty little flowers again, so I'm thrilled with that. But my big winner this month, and I'll bring you in closer, is my absolutely gorgeous hibiscus. I am absolutely thrilled. I am going to cut some of these mums back because, folks, there are beautiful hibiscus flowers down there too, all kind of hidden. This mum is going to be gorgeous in the fall. Right now it's just a green, low, pretty bush. But I prefer the hibiscus to be showing more. The geraniums I'm actually quite impressed with, and I do need to get in here and deadhead these, but I love the colors in here. Back there is the purple and white verbena, another one I took cuttings of. Seems to enjoy it back there. I'm going to definitely follow through with more cuttings of the verbenas for next spring. I'll do those like in October, November, because it was just so successful this year, and it's just gorgeous pops of color. And in this little area where we pulled out one of the bushes, I planted an Ixora, and it bloomed. I mean, it was gorgeous. It had blooms when we bought it. I watched a few YouTube videos on how to prune that back to deadhead it properly, and the flowers are growing in, so I'm thrilled. Pentas red, Pentas pink, and of course my chocolate chip ajuga down there that I do not expect to see flower until the spring. But frankly, those dark green purplish leaves, and this light green area here, I think is just an unhappy. I may just cut that back. But for the most part, the dark green, almost to the dark purple, I like that foliage. It covers a lot of the soil, and it really helps maintain the water in here. So happy with this area. And again, I have the moss roses on the rail on this side as well. And as with the other side, I will definitely do this next summer. This side of the house is the first view I see when I come out, and I've just been so happy this year. I really have. August, obviously, everything is completely stressed, but this whole view with what I put on the fence and the bicycle and the Mexican petunias and the Rose of Sharon and 4 o'clocks and dahlias, frankly, I just love looking out here and seeing this. Once again, with the dahlia, if you look down at the base, I mean, it is just an unhappy plant. And I'm going to let it go for a little bit longer because it does have some buds up here, and I have yet to see this particular one bloom, which is why I sort of left it. I do want to see what those blooms look like, but almost immediately I'll cut them, bring them in, put them in a vase, but I'm going to cut this back pretty quick. Mums, this is mums. I've been very pleased. They just grow. They seem to like our area. And I did clip this one back, and you can see it's already growing in fuller. It's setting a bunch of new buds. They will not open until Octoberish, but this should be absolutely gorgeous. These dahlias are ones that I cut back in an earlier video. Wow, that dahlia needs to get cut back. And you can see they're already leafing out. They're already gorgeous. This one already has a bud. So definitely, folks, once your dahlias start looking sad and too tall, cut them back. They will grow again, and you'll get a whole new flush of flowers in the fall. Purslane, so it's just a go-to in Central Texas. It's something that can withstand the heat and the drought and continues to give you color every single day. The little buckets in the bicycle, I put begonias. I honestly don't think that was, well, clearly, it was probably not the best choice. I never got a full flush of flowers from all three, other than when I first planted it with flowers. I'm going to rethink what goes in there. And honestly, purslane seems to be doing so well everywhere else. I think I might put purslane in there next spring. We'll see. Some dahlias back there. Again, it's time to clip them back and see what happens in the fall. They should all come back. And then some profusion zinnias and this one lone little taller zinnia. I don't know. I must have dropped a seed on accident. I can't see planting this guy right here, but he's pretty. I can't cut him back. I just can't do it. This, folks, is why I called this my Mexican petunia fence. We started with a few plants up there, but they've had babies. I mean, I've cut them out of the dahlia area because I want dahlias there. But down along here, I mean, it was such an expansive fence. I really just wanted taller, more tropical looking plants. But I was shocked because this is all in shade. It is actually blooming. The Mexican petunias are blooming. Oh my God, folks. The weeds are like flipping trees. I really need to get in here. I did purslane in these two terracotta pots. Ran irrigation lines through. That's on a previous video. The purslane was not as happy here. Folks, purslane kind of likes full sun, and it just doesn't get enough sun in this area. So once again, I'm going to rethink what goes in here next spring. We'll see. But few flowers. I mean, they're not terrible looking. Leaves, I mean, they look like healthy plants. I want more color coming out of these two pots. So if you have any ideas, let me know. This is my very sad third year attempt at a food herb garden. I don't know, folks. We did have things growing down here, tomato plants and such, and then we decided to put this in. There's a cement pad, so I actually dug up tomato plants and moved them, two of them that look the healthiest. Tomato plants don't like being moved after a certain point, but we did it anyway, and we got, I'm telling you, folks, 3 or 4 tomatoes. I think we can pretty much call that a day, especially in August, as now is not the time. They are just too stressed. My basil, love it. I come through here and I pick leaves and, well, ones that don't have spots on them. But I pick the leaves and I put them on pizzas, pasta sauces. Really great. Thyme, bunches of thyme. My cilantro never came through. Green onions, those are actually pretty good. I put the marigolds in the front because they're supposed to discourage bugs and critters. They're pretty. I'm glad I put them here because other than that, this is not a very pretty area. My sister planted a Verbena bonariensis in here, but I just don't think it got enough sun. We got a few flowers off of it, but not enough to say, ooh, this is a good spot for it. This is not a good spot for it. I just wanted something that looked more alive with more color back here. I do want to try the cilantro. I'm happy with the herbs that I've grown. Tomatoes next year, obviously, they'll be planted and we won't move them. Blueberry bush. Third blueberry bush in 3 years. Still alive. The other two didn't make it as far as August. Not one berry. The blackberry bush. Growing. Big leaves. Pretty. Not one blackberry. Very disappointing. I'm not sure what we're doing wrong. I've even done the identifier thinking, is that not a blackberry bush? But it is. There's a few actually. And then the avocado. This is just 2 avocado seeds that I planted for fun to see what would happen. So I don't know. We'll see what will happen. Very unimpressive. I am fully aware. Again, I'm going to rethink on what to plant and when to plant. I'd like this area to be a place where I come out to get, tomatoes and herbs and, I mean, for my cooking. I do love cooking. So next year, we'll do it. I did get some, as I said, out of it. So I'm not completely disappointed, but not enough to go, oh, gee, I'm a food gardener. Over here, I just wanted something that would be full and pretty, and I planted coleus. This is the shade garden area. I planted coleus caladium. The caladium is probably, the one that came up the best. This, and I'm going to bring you in closer to see this zebra, or actually, I'll put the zebra plant close up in the corner here. I'm stunned. That actually I rescued. It was in a pot outside. I brought it inside over winter, brought it back outside. And I don't know, I read something somewhere, You know, if you plant it in the spring and it gets established, it will survive and come back. But I love those flowers, and those flowers last forever. I'm not sure why my coleus did not get big and full in this area. I really don't have any idea. But as I said, the caladium clearly is filled in a spot, so I may pick more caladiums for this area for next spring, because I just want this area to be more full clearly than it is. Expected this entire corner to be, again, much fuller. This corner itself, I'm not too unhappy with. The clerodendrons have totally filled in the spot. The philodendron that I didn't think was coming back, I thought it was gone, is actually growing back, but it's so small. I think I'm going to pull away some of the clerodendron babies that they're having, maybe a little bit more light. It is a shade plant, but it's not, I don't think it's a deep shade plant. So I may clear that out just a little just to give it room to breathe. Everywhere you see a caladium, I planted hostas on both sides. Man, I'll tell you, it's 50-50 whether those hostas survived or not. In both pots, although they're mismatched, I got them from my daughter, I had polka dot plants. These were almost dead in that raised front bed. Kind of shocking. So you can see I'm moving out, and I tried to match on both sides. So polka dot plant, polka dot plant. I have a begonia here that, well, I don't know what happened to him. And I had a begonia over here that didn't survive. An azalea bush over there, which is bigger, and an azalea bush over here, which frankly I thought was gone and now is coming back. And then coleus in between and spreading out from there. So this is a little bit closer toward what I want. But next year, again, I'm going to be trying to add to and think what I can do to, focus on more of the plants that I know will grow more successfully in this area. And although it has some sunlight peeking through, it's the morning. 90% of the day is shade, 100% shade. This tree and the neighbor's trees overhead just block all of the light. So this is a shade zone. Again, any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. I've said it before so many times. This is one of my favorite places just to sit and look around at everything on this side of the yard. It's shaded. It's always shaded. I have a peace lily here that I actually took a piece from the peace lily on the front porch, and it has flowers several times. Again, I think the heat, it's alive. It's doing okay. The leaves look healthy. I think it's a lot of, as I said, a lot of the plants are not doing much in this heat. They're just trying to survive. This coleus, holy cow, I want to get more of this particular coleus, and I'm going to look it up. It was like velvet, I don't know, but I'm going to look up the name because this is gorgeous. This pot my daughter gave us, and I wanted something here. And as you can see on the back fence, this is what I wanted to look tropical behind me, so that when I turned around, I saw less fence and more beauty. And surprisingly enough, the Mexican petunias in the shade garden area are the big winners behind me. But anyway, I love this area. I really do. It's just very calming, peaceful. I can see the little waterfall from here and look at many of my flowers and just relax. It's a wonderful spot. This is all celosia. They are tall and huge, and they have fallen forward into the yard. I am frankly going to cut them back. They're absolutely pretty, the flowers, but their flowers are so tiny. My sister's too. I think it might have been just the seeds, but it's pretty. It's got red stems, green leaves. I love the detail. And there are little flowers and they are pretty, but when you come into this area, just the red and the green, it's nice. I like it. But I am going to cut it back to the brick line, and I'll try to stake up some of this, although I love it. There's very little behind and to the fence. Everything is falling forward. So I probably should have tied this back up earlier in the at the end of spring, but I never got around to it. But that's okay. Over here, I've got 2 Persian shields. They were planted on either side of my front door in planters. They did well, but really got too much sun. I mean, and frankly, the front door only gets sun about 2 hours. These guys do not like direct sun in Central Texas. didn't want to throw them out because they were so beautiful. I mean, they were dead, but they were so gorgeous on either side. So I thought, well, I'd put them back here in this shade garden. Again, serious shade. This area gets little to no sun. And look, they came back this spring. I mean, these were the dead ones from last year. And surprise, surprise. A love plant. Friends of ours gave us some seeds that I planted. It's just a pretty pop of purple. I like it. And then again, the coleus. And we've got hosta, caladium hosta. These two hostas are alive, although, folks, they have not been very impressive. And I'm not sure if it's a Central Texas issue or if it's a soil issue. I'm going to look into that because everything I've seen, a coleus and a caladium in the middle with a hosta on both sides, just visually can be so gorgeous. So again, I'll look into this, and I'm not sure if maybe it's just bug. I have no idea. I will check into it. But again, underwhelming here, but we'll work on it. It's more than it was last year. My little baby faux well, and good Lord, I mean, we literally just touched up this paint in the spring. I had petunias there all spring, which were absolutely stunning. And then obviously the heat of Texas towards the middle of June, it went, nope, no more. I put in some of the purslane, which, this is just my summer go-to. This will start failing in the fall, and I'll probably put in petunias again until November, December. Up here is a coleus. I did cut back. It was just getting too leggy, and it is growing leaves down lower. So happy with my little faux well. Right side of my tiny pond. The begonias, I think, were a good choice on the hooks back here. I think I'll move that hook over just a little bit so it will fill in the space next year. The coleus just wasn't very happy, and I even have an irrigation line going to it. I think it just gets too much direct sun here in the worst part of the day. Right now it's still early, so it's in the shade, but it does get blasted pretty bad. Verbena, I don't know, 50-50. Dahlias I cut back, and they are growing back. So woohoo. See, those I expect to bloom in the next month and then through the fall. Some little things planted in there. Some zinnias still have flowers. I don't know what's going on, folks, with my pink verbena. This was the big stunner last year, and it went all summer. It is just so unhappy. But then you get these tiny little clumps of it. You see the pink verbena back there that are happy. So I'm not sure if the soil or the amendments, or maybe I gave it too much of something or not enough of something. Probably too much of something because I was really pretty good at my fertilizing schedule. But still, pink verbenas were the big show for the summer last year, and they are just very unhappy. And we'll end this first video on the back porch. And if you can look, I just did a video on reviving my pots on the back porch. And you can see the cut back dahlias, folks. I'm telling you, don't be afraid. Just cut them. Look at this stem. I mean, it was a hollow stem that I cut right there. But look, I mean, it is filling in crazy. I want to say I just did this entire back porch of pots just like a week and a half ago. You can look at that video to compare. I'll try to post a picture in the corner. I'll try to find what this looked like just a week and a half ago. And purslane gets really boring. Purslane is the way to go. And then down underneath, this is just a begonia I tried to save. It was completely dead in a pot over on the other side of the porch. Thought I'd give it another chance, and look, it's growing little leaves, so I don't know. We may come up with a beautiful begonia. We will have to wait and see. And back here, pruned the heck out of this begonia. And there are some pretty flowers that are coming out. But honestly, there seems to be even more sections. I don't think it's hard to prune them so much. I mean, it really just feels so drastic. But when I look at the areas where I really did harshly prune it, there is new, very healthy growth coming up. So I think I may come in and take off some of this other stuff as well, because where I did it is coming back. This rose bush was an experiment I did on propagating roses. I'm going to find a place in the yard for that to go. Clearly it's alive. Clearly it's blooming. Although I do need to deadhead those roses. Vinca, go to summer color fabulous. Once again, boy, it's sounding boring, folks, but Purslane, Central Texas gives you color. Over here, begonia. I pruned this one back, and boy, that just turned to dust. That one died completely. I've got some albutilon and some moss rose seedlings that are looking really nice, and I think I'm going to try those in here. Yeah, I think I'm going to put those in there. Over here, Lord Broken Record, Purslane. But this one's pink and the flowers are bigger. I don't know. You know what? It gives me color and it's beautiful and I love it. Dahlias all coming back, folks. Every single one. I think there's only one here. No, it even has some new leaves coming out of the base of that as well. Cut your dahlias back, folks. When they start looking tired and leggy and a lot of dried leaves, cut them back and you'll get a whole new flush for the fall. Trust me, it's so worth it. Back here, man, poor little zinnia that should have been planted out. So these are odds and ends plants that I just never got out there. I don't even know what some of these are. God, is that a seed dahlia? I don't know. I'm actually going to have to do an identifier on a few of those. Well, clearly that's a verbena. So that's pretty. Actually, I may put that out. And then an aster. Guys, my husband bought me, I call it seed in a box. It was a whole mess of seeds in a wooden box, very pretty for like Mother's Day or something. And they grew the most stunning asters. I've never tried asters before. Clearly, this is one I probably was too small to be identified or not doing well, but look at it now. I still think it's a little too hot. I'm going to have to really think carefully of where I want that in the yard. These are the albutilon, and man, I'll put a picture here. So pretty. Seeds I harvested from my sister's garden. These are the moss roses I grew from seeds. You can also look at the experiments I did on the planting these moss rose seeds in soil versus the let pot, which is like an AeroGarden system. Really interesting results. The let pot definitely had better results. These two, the begonias, man, I cut them back and they are growing some new leaves. And again, I think I probably need to cut them back a little bit further. And I put the albutilon and the moss roses in there too. They're still seedlings, no flowers yet, but I fully expect them to be gorgeous. And then I put in the tea roses. Tea roses never work for me until I put them in this specific pot in this specific location. You know what? I'll plant tea roses here every single year. And I have new buds. I mean, it just likes it. I don't know why. Sometimes plants take me by surprise, and an area I think they'll really like it, they hate. And then an area where I don't, you wouldn't think they'd like it, they seem to love. So I'm not sure. And then a polka dot plant that just grew back. It was a little plant that I put in here last year, but it's a good backdrop, so I'm happy with it. Side note, this was a gorgeous double petunia I had behind the pond. It died. I pulled it out, put it up here, and just to get it out of the way. And it got watered just because it was near other pots that were getting watered. And it grew back and was gorgeous. And then it started looking like it was failing again. So I picked up the branches and fertilized and watered, and it died. I think it would have done better if I just hadn't touched it. That's okay. I've got, as you saw, albutilon and moss rose seedlings. So I will be putting those in there as well. Well, that's it for part one of my August garden tour. Some things looking gorgeous, some things looking burned, but a lot of learning about what I want to do next year that will change. I was able to see what did well, what didn't. Folks, if stuff doesn't work, it's all an experiment. Take what you love that really did work and replicate it. Things that just didn't work, maybe play around with what you do with it if you really love it to get it to look better next year, or don't use it at all. This is your garden is your space. You make it the way you want it, and you have it the way that gives you a smile at the end of the day or the early morning when you're walking through. Anyway, if you liked my video, please hit subscribe, like, or share. It helps me to grow my channel. You have a wonderful day.